Welcome to Begin, Build, Blossom Your Business Journey, the podcast where we share valuable insights, resources, and motivation to fuel your entrepreneurial spirit. Let's build a supportive community together. Don't forget to subscribe or follow wherever you listen to podcasts and be part of this journey. Let's pause for a moment to hear from our sponsors. You've built a name for yourself through hard work and dedication, but does managing the business side feel like a distraction from your true passion? Are you dealing with unmanaged finances? CME Accounting LLC is here to help. We specialize in organizing your financial records, allowing you to focus on what you do best. With organized books, you'll have more time for what inspires you. Whether that's expanding your influence, building relationships, or simply enjoying life. Don't let unmanaged finances hold you back. Reach out to CME Accounting LLC today and let us help you thrive. Visit our website www.cmeaccountingllc.com or email us at admin@cmeaccountingllc.com. All right, let's jump back into our conversation.
Welcome to Begin, Build, Blossom Your Business Journey with Angela and Clarita. Thank you for joining us again for Season 3. We were thrilled to have those who subscribed and supported the podcast. So today, we'll be introducing you to Season 3 and sharing some of the lessons we've learned as we prepared for this new season, talking about partnerships, and also talking about some of the wonderful guests you will hear from this season. Clarita?
Yes, thank you so much, Angela. And I'm just going to add my voice here and say welcome and thank you for supporting us on this journey. We could not have gotten to Season 3 without you. So thanks.
Excellent. And before we continue, I want to say a very special thanks to all my friends in the UK, in St. Lucia, and around the world who supported the podcast, who subscribed, if not by force. They've subscribed or watched a video or share a video. But I also want to extend a very special thanks to St. Lucia's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, His Excellency Honorable Anthony Severin, who has been very supportive of the podcast featuring St. Lucians of noteworthiness or St. Lucian creatives in the diaspora. When the idea was shared with him about featuring one of our notable St. Lucians, he came on board happily to support the podcast. So you'll hear a little bit more about those guests and a little bit more about the other guests that we'll be having on the podcast. So thank you, High Commissioner.
Great.
Yes. So Clarita, we're now in Season 3. When you started in the first season, did you think you'd make it here?
Well, I sure hope that I did. But I will say one of the things I didn't consider was how different it would be having somebody else with you. So for me, looking at Season 1 and now Season 3, one of the best things is having you on as a partner. And that's something that we're working on when we talk about partnership. There is a process that we're following there. Maybe we can talk about that because this is all about learning and teaching where we can. So maybe let's talk about what partnership looks like for us and the process that we're going through.
Yes, we can do that. And I think the partnerships is critical even in the foundation. We're friends. We've been friends for more than 20 years and we're also entering into business. So we have found it necessary to also document that and ensure that we have an agreement on who's contributing what, how we're going to do it. And this is to say that regardless of whether it's your family, whether it's your friend, whether it's a colleague, there must be some form of documentation. So there's clear accountability for each partner's contribution. So that's one level of partnership. Would you say, Clarita?
Yes, and one of the ways we've done that is we're actually working along with an attorney to walk through this with us. So maybe when we're all done, if people have interest in knowing more about it, maybe we can talk about it in detail. But basically, yes, we're basically formalizing our partnership. So we were having a lot of discussions about what that looks like for us. It actually reminds me of a marriage, you know. You go to counseling. What is it you want from the marriage?
Yes,
what are your expectations? What are your contributions? Bringing an attorney on board.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yes.
And listen, Clarita has this down. I'm about, okay, let's speak to the attorney. What does he suggest? All right, this is yours. Okay, you do this. But Clarita keeps insisting that I need to sit down and write what I want, write how I want it to be done, write what I want my contribution to be. So these are the sort of things. There must be someone driving it. And in this case, I'll honestly say it's Clarita driving it. So I'm just following whatever she asks me to do. I'm getting it done. In that sense, it it also creates a bit of a uncomfortable discussion that we must have in terms of ownership and partnership. And for me, I've just always acknowledged that she's founded the podcast and I want to come and add value to it. But I also want to make sure that that value is acknowledged and recognized. And she's been very much in agreement with that and rather pushing me even further than I may want to go. So I think that just really solidifies the whole thing.
Yes, and I like that you mentioned uncomfortable because we did say that. I remember saying, Angela, we will have a few uncomfortable conversations, and that's okay because that's what it is. And for anybody going through that, it's just to kind of validate. Yes, we've been friends for a long time, but this is very new, and this is business. And when you're dealing with business, certain things you just have to put in place. And we want to make sure our friendship stays intact. So the best thing to do is to have those conversations now. Don't avoid it. And I think that's one of my strengths. I like processes. I like to make sure that we cover the ifs and the whats. Sometimes people make fun of me for that.
Yeah, she asks all kinds of questions. Last time she's asking me, how are we paying for that? I said, don't worry about it. We're paying for it. I'll find the money kind of thing. So she asked all the questions. And then that triggers, okay, I need to find an answer because this question has been asked. And so it's two heads are always better than one. So there may be something I haven't thought of. And then there's something you've thought of because I think if I recall when we were formulating something you were formulating, and then when you sent it to me and I reviewed it and I said, I'm not sure that's the best approach. And you said, okay, so what do you suggest? How do we do it? And you went back to the drawing boards and revisit how the approach is done. So that's the kind of thing. And that's what I really appreciate, that we could have those conversations and we have another conversation like, oh, I'm not talking to Angela. I don't like what you're telling me, or I'm not talking to Clarita kind of thing. So that's been really good about the exchange as well.
Yeah, and even though we say that, it's not that there will not be emotions involved, but I think I see us as two business people, and we're very mature in that way. So it's okay to have those conversations and still come back and just talk about it some more and come to a resolution. And I don't know. Sometimes when I think of where we're at, I'm thinking about people who've probably maybe built real big empires, and they started somewhere. And I'm thinking maybe that's us. And then maybe a few years from now, looking back, we'll be like, yeah, that's the story that you hear later on. So that's the beginning of that. So that's how I feel working on this with you.
Yes. And once we do it right, we have a really good foundation. We want to be able to build pillars that we can stand on firmly. And so it's really good that you had suggested we engage this attorney and then we go through that process with him and he makes suggestions and we make suggestions and we do research. So when we come to that agreement, it's something that we can both comfortably say, yes, I'm happy with this.
Yes, and the important thing is it being fair and we both being happy. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking for the final agreement to be. So talking about partnerships, let's talk about other partnerships that we're looking at in this new season.
So in this new season, we are excited to explore opportunities to partner with other organizations. And there are two organizations that I have personally reached out to. And the aim or the objective is to feature the people or the person, or we could say personalities within those organizations, whether they be a creative or they be someone in production or someone writing. So it's an opportunity for us to grow, for us to look for organizations with alignment. And two of those organizations are in alignment with what we do. And so once those proposals are met, then we will be broadening the scope of what we do in the podcast. We'll be increasing the types of individuals that we feature in various fields that we may not have necessarily covered already, and different parts of the globe as well. So at the moment, we have been interviewing persons in the UK, in St. Lucia, and in the US. And I know in this season for sure we have someone in Australia. And then we will potentially expand to persons in the African continent and so on.
Yeah, so that brings us to one of the things we're doing this season, like you mentioned, is just expanding the guest diversity, whether it be in terms of geography, the types of business, the backgrounds, the stories. So one of the guests we'll be featuring is Megan Spencer of Meg Plus Grace. And yes, she is in Australia. And you will hear a little bit more about it. But we were trying to figure out how we met each other. And I think it was once I started the podcast, somehow she came across that journey and she followed me. And then I'm not, we still, yeah, so I think that's how it happened. She followed me and then I think she added me on LinkedIn, or one of us added the other on LinkedIn. And we've been following each other's journey on LinkedIn. One day she mentioned that she's starting her interior design business. And I reached out and, congratulated her and told her how amazing that is. And I'd like to learn more. And then we had a call and then it led to us now I'm recording the podcast. So it just shows how you start something, you don't know where it's going to land. You don't know who's going to be listening. And look, I've met somebody out there in Australia and I'm able to now speak with her and learn more about her journey and actually to follow her journey as well.
So that's really good. And it shows, just from that connection, shows the borderless nature of the world. And the fact that there's the internet and there's this online studio, we can connect wherever individuals are. And so that's what we want to do in the partnerships. Additionally, your exchange highlighted something that's important, and that's relationship and building a connection. If you didn't establish that relationship, whether it's her following you or you following her, when you reached out and wanting to find more and her sharing her story, probably wouldn't have come through as easily, rather than if you were doing a cold call. I'm sure she responded straight away when you reached out because you had established, you had followed the journey in some way. And then the fact that you came and you'd seen this and say, hey, congratulations, let's talk more. And now you've created a platform for her and created content, as we like to say.
Yeah, and it's all about genuine connection. We did not connect because we were trying to get anything from each other. It was genuine admiration of what we're each doing. And like you said, building that connection, building on it. And then when the opportunity came, yeah, we decided to have a chat. And I'm still continuing to follow her journey. And maybe one day I'll be in Australia and we may meet up in person. Who knows? It just amazes me because you just never know where something you do is going to lead, and to see those real life experiences. It blows me away. And that takes me to another interview we've done. There is Javi of Avea. That's a joint interview that we did. And we've actually connected him with somebody else in his,
Yes.
um,
One of your guests.
yeah, one of our previous guests, because they're basically in the same line of business and they've had some really amazing conversations from what I'm hearing. And they're potentially meeting as well. So that's the power of this platform.
Yes, the power of connection, because he was admiring this individual and it comes back to the connection, and he had reached out to the individual directly, but didn't get a response. But when that introduction was made, the connection happened straight away. Connections made by referral is much stronger and more effective than the cold call. In some cases, they will work. And I mean, we've done cold calls and we'll continue to do them until
so we're not saying cold calls are not okay.
Oh
We're
no,
just
absolutely not. That's necessary.
Yes.
But the podcast is a really great platform to connect businesses, to connect individuals who are in the same field. And so when we closed off the previous one, we spoke about this vision you have to bring the podcast guests together. And so we're hoping, within the next year or two, we can materialize that. And that will bring everybody together, industries together, creatives together, whatever it may be. And so, Avea is a young man making wines from local fruits in St. Lucia. And when you hear his story of how he got started and how he remains in business, and what his plans are. It will be fascinating. And we hope that it'll be great inspiration to younger persons who are trying to figure out what they can do and maybe need some direction and encouragement.
Yes, and this young man's drive, it's so inspiring. Yes. So if you haven't yet, follow him on LinkedIn, Instagram. He's sharing a lot about his
He's very much
journey.
about creating content.
Yes, very valuable content, may I add. And one of the things we're looking to do more this season is also having more video content to complement the audio. And Angela is the queen of that. So, Angela, tell us a little bit more of what you've been doing.
Yes. So when we closed off last season, we closed off with the intention of opening with a video and opening with Son of St. Lucia Soil. And that will become a reality. We've done 4 videos, as a matter of fact, 3 of them in London. And so that first one will be Trix Worrell. He is the writer, creator of the sitcom Desmond's, which has been a major hit in the UK and around the world. So you'll hear a lot more about his journey as an advocate, as an academic, as an award-winning writer and director, and a little bit about how he grew up, how his St. Lucianness has influenced who he is. So I'm really excited about that conversation. And what's also fascinating about the conversation is the persons he's interacted with and the persons that we hope that he can connect us with as well. So I'm really excited for us to see it. So that's coming soon in November.
Yes, and then tell us a little bit more about the other
So
persons you've
yeah, we
interviewed.
also have 2 other guests. One is Lee John. He is lead singer of Imagination in the UK, another really big pop band. And he continues to perform in Europe today, in the UK and around the world. And I especially like his story. I mean, I love all of them, truthfully. He talks a lot about the music industry. He talks about the challenges and staying strong and just being in music and how to succeed, not just in music though, but as any creative or a professional. So, I mean, you're going to enjoy it. I can say it's the kind of interview, all of these interviews, Trick and Lee, they're interviews that I believe you'd want to listen to the end. And so we're really excited to release those, and they'll be released before the year end. And the third video is Tanya Edwards, also of St. Lucian heritage, very much about her St. Lucianness. And that's what we will see come out in these 3 episodes, which we receive support from the St. Lucia High Commission to put together in the video to give us that visual picture of who these individuals are. And they all have fascinating stories, fascinating experiences of them being in the industry, some of the challenges they've had to overcome, how they overcame it, and just their advice to you that you can apply as someone wishing to get into a similar field or even your daily life. So it was really exciting. I really love videos, I think, because it gives that visual expression and I get to be in the room with the individual. And it's especially exciting when you have a guest who's just so eager to share and they're answering the questions and they're feeding off the energy. And while technology allows us to connect around the world, we lose that energy connection in the room. So that's what I really like about interviews, about in-person and video. At the same time, it has challenges. You now have to be well proper. The hair must be done, the makeup, the nails, the clothing, the posture, and so on. So we're getting it right slowly but surely. So look forward to that.
And also the post-production of
Yeah.
actually, it's
Oh
more
my.
work.
Yes. Yes, the post production. So now with the post production of videos, we must be sitting, looking, dedicating time. So that is the major challenge in dedicating a good amount of time to reviewing those videos. Unlike the audio, we can listen to it while doing other things because we don't need to see. And then if there's a spot, we can go back. But in the video, you have to look at the video. Is the guest in the best view? Is the interviewee in the best? It's the host rather looking the best? Is there something that's not in the right place? Should we change the camera angle? Is there a blank spot? All these kinds of things. And we're learning. I've been very fortunate to be working with a videographer who's of Jamaican descent from Will Mag. Shout out to Will Mag. And he's always been very helpful and supportive in helping us to get the productions done, in making suggestions in how we can improve it, and just overall in how we can improve the podcast. So I'm really grateful for that on my end. But I know, Clarity, you've done your first video interview. So tell us, how did that go? What was the experience like?
Yes, I will. But when you mentioned Will Mag, I was realizing that's another partnership there. So that's one thing that I'm seeing. Like this idea is now grown where we're now working with people. And then I could just see when we have, maybe our own studio, we'll have a whole team. So that's like the formation, that's the beginnings of that. But back to my first in-person interview. I was nervous. It took a lot out of me to do it, but I loved it. The energy is different. My guest was Philip Coker of the Bronx School for Music. He's somebody I've seen before. My daughter, she was in a music class there. So I would always see him. I would always talk to him about doing the interview. He actually said, "Yeah, we can do it. We have a beautiful backyard. Why don't you use that?" And at the time when I was talking to him, I was doing only online interviews. So when he said that, I was like, yeah, actually that's a good idea. But then all the fear came in. I'm like, oh my gosh, all these other things I have to consider. Do I have what I need to do it? And actually that kept me from doing it for a while. But then there's another guest that was on our podcast, and I reached out to him and I said, would you be open to helping me with this? And he said yes. He actually assisted me with that. And he did it just out of the goodness of his heart. And I'm so grateful. You'll be seeing more of that once the episode is released. But this guest is someone who owns a school in the Bronx, and he teaches. I mean, the school has grown so much. He teaches kids of all ages. And then there are group classes, and then there are also private classes, one-on-one classes. What I like a lot about that school is there is such a great sense of community. And when I go there at the events, I feel welcomed. Sierra is very happy there. So I just wanted to learn more about his journey, and I learned so much from the conversation we had. So that is a video plus audio podcast episode coming up. So there's a lot to look forward to. Let's pause for a moment to hear from our sponsors. You've built a name for yourself through hard work and dedication, but does managing the business side feel like a distraction from your true passion? Are you dealing with unmanaged finances? CME Accounting LLC is here to help. We specialize in organizing your financial records, allowing you to focus on what you do best. With organized books, you'll have more time for what inspires you, whether that's expanding your influence, building relationships, or simply enjoying life. Don't let unmanaged finances hold you back. Reach out to CME Accounting LLC today and let us help you thrive. Visit our website www.cmeaccountingllc.com or email us at admin@cmeaccountingllc.com. All right, let's jump back into our conversation.
Is there anything you do differently in terms of doing a video?
For the video, I think I'll just be more relaxed. I think that I would just appreciate that I have what it takes, and then all the other things are just bonuses. And that I believe the person I mentioned who assisted me with video, we had a debrief afterwards, and he said he thought the interview was very engaging. He was actually very interested in what we were saying, and he learned a lot. And he said he basically pumped me up. It's like, you were great. The guest was great. He thought it was amazing. So I thought about it and realized, you got what it takes. Just do it. And that's what I would take into the next recording. So stop thinking about all the stuff that can go wrong and think of what can go right, and just be in the moment, be present. And I will say I love in person. The energy, like you mentioned, is so different. So I will definitely try to get more opportunities to do that. There are limitations, of course, that could probably prevent me from doing as many as I would like to. but it's definitely something I look forward to and I hope to do more of. So maybe we can talk a little bit more about merchandising. That's something we talked about at the end of season 2. So we just want to give an update on that. Go for it, Angela.
Yes, so we have started the conversation and the process of identifying our supplier for merchandise. You will be getting that begin, build, blossom message because you can appreciate that this applies to every facet of our life. Even growing, we begin, then we build and we blossom. So we want to share that with you so you can have your mugs, your t-shirts, your pens, your bags, whatever it is. We'll be starting off with t-shirts most likely and tote bags. So by the end of the year, we will be sharing the link where you can support the podcast and have your positive message take along.
Yes, and that is a way that listeners can support us as well, so we can keep going. And that's another process. So we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot about all of this. It's not just something that happens quickly. Like Angela said, we've started discussions with persons who can help us along. There is a lot that goes into it, making sure that we have the logo the way we want it to be, making sure we know who the suppliers are, how do we exactly what we want to present, the quality. So we've been having those meetings. The trademark, making sure that's in order. Maybe do we want to work on a separate website? There are a lot of discussions around it, but we're definitely putting in the work and we just really look forward to the day we can tell you that the merchandise is available.
That's right. That's right. And as we spoke about merchandise and mentioned support, there is the opportunity as well for persons who are interested in be running advertisements or supporting the podcast. There's an opportunity for that. So you check the link in the bio to see how you can become a partner or a sponsor on the podcast.
Yes. And I think so we've covered quite a bit. So I think maybe one of the other things we can talk about is guests. We've talked about that a little bit, but in terms of if you're listening and you think that you want your story or you know somebody that we should reach out to, so we can interview them, please feel free to reach out and let us know. Usually we meet somebody and then we reach out to them, but we're open to also being introduced to people.
Yes, for connections to be made.
Yes. And like we've said before, we're happy to reach out, get that done, and get their stories highlighted.
That's right.
Maybe we can talk a little bit more about the process there too. So what happens is we have that initial conversation with the person and we do research on our end as well. We check online. If we know persons personally, we reach out. So there's a lot of work there too, because we want to make sure that we authenticate things and, we bring in the right people on board, as guests. And, once that's
And then
done,
guests that are engaging.
yes. And then once that's done, we go ahead and we actually share a link where they could schedule. And then we share more information with them to prep.
Yeah, what we need them to do.
Right. And then on the interview day, we go ahead and do that, have that amazing conversation, and then we get it edited and released. So just wanted to point that out. So anybody who's interested, please feel free to reach out.
Yes, yes. And in some instances, just to add to what Clarita said, we also have a prep conversation because we did this with Havea Wines where, yes, reached out, have a conversation, see what the appetite is like. Because yes, we may think that the person is a good guest, but do they think they're a good guest? Are they a right fit? Are they ready to share that story?
And I think it's important to mention too that a lot of people, sometimes we speak to them and they tell us, oh, this is my first time. I've never been on a podcast before. And it's just important, I think, to let people know we're fairly new to this as well. So we're not far removed from where you are. We were once at a point where we hadn't done this before. We were not sure and all of that. So we can talk you through it. And that's why we have that conversation ahead of time as well. We talk to you because sometimes it's not until somebody talks to you that you realize, oh yeah, I have something to share. So we can talk to you, have that initial conversation and see if that's something you want to do. And also to just let you see that we
We're
people,
just like you. We're relatable.
yeah, and we make you very comfortable. We've had a few guests tell us at the end, "Oh, it's done. Oh, this was so much fun." So it might seem intimidating at first, but once you go through it, and we feel like we're experts in that now, making you feel comfortable and getting you through your very first podcast where you'll
Yeah,
probably be
we're
wanting
making
to do
friends.
more. Yes. And the connections like we talked about before. The connections that you create, because one of the things that happens too is sometimes the conversation goes past what the listeners and the viewers see, right? Once we stop, we sometimes continue that conversation and we learn so much about each other. We make other connections. A lot really comes out of these conversations. And I just love the podcast. Even though I'm having a bad day, once I get on screen, I'm just talking to somebody new and asking questions and learning and listening. It makes a difference. And I'm just happy that we're able to share that with you, our listeners and our viewers.
Yes, yes. Clarity is very good at asking the question.
All right. So I think that sums up everything that we wanted to discuss as we prepare for season 2. So this is our very first episode.
I think before we close off, Clarita, we can mention that there will be 2 special episodes of Begin Build Blossom outside of our normal, we will say, format. One focuses on women's health and one on men's. And we will be collaborating again with the St. Lucia High Commission to have a special conversation around men's health and men's reproductive health, which will be released on International Men's Day, the 19th of November. Very often we focus so much on women and highlight them, and we don't always do it for the men. So this is an opportunity to do that. And then in the works, Clarita had a program, a conversation around women's health where she'll be bringing a panel together. And so those will be released around specific days. Maybe Clarita, you can tell us a bit more about that.
Yes. So I want to go back a little bit and say that one of the things we've realized, yes, we're talking to business owners about their business, but what we found was as we speak to different businesses, you see how some of their work goes together.
Synergistic.
Yes. And that's what brought about some of these. And so as we meet more people, we realize how we can have even deeper conversations. So more like a deep dive. So for instance, the one that I will be working on, it's a panel discussion amongst 3 guests that we've had on the podcast. One is a birth doula, the other is a sex therapist, and the other is a mental health professional. And from listening to, like, from interviewing them, I learned a lot. And then I reached out to them again. I said, but I see a common theme here. So can we have a deeper conversation? And that's where that came about, the whole discussion around menopause and just women health, the different phases that women go through. So we're looking at, for instance, what happens in the 20s compared to the 30s and the 40s. And those 3 professionals will be bringing different perspectives. So it would be good to see how all of that comes together. The same business owners that we interview, the work that they do also has an impact. So that's where the deep dive comes in. So in terms of the release dates, I don't have that yet. I will keep you updated.
Yes. Okay, that's very good. So make sure you stay tuned.
And as we close, let's talk about engagement. We have ideas, but we want to hear your ideas as well. So anything you can think of that could make this podcast better, we encourage you to reach out, whether it be on social media or you can email us at podcast@cmeaccountingllc.com. That is podcast at cmeaccountingllc.com. We really do encourage you to reach out and also subscribe. That is your way of telling us that you're enjoying these episodes and that you'd like us to continue.
Yes. So subscription also helps to support us and help us to grow and raise the visibility of the podcast. We are young women, island girls doing things in the world. So it's an opportunity for you to help us to be in that inclusive space, telling our own stories in our way and sharing other story. So continue to like, subscribe, and share with your network. This has been Begin, Build, Blossom, your business journey. This has been a conversation with Angela and Clarita, introducing you to season 3. We're excited. A quick note before we wrap up. The insights and experiences shared by our guests are their own. We love creating space for real conversations about business and growth, and everyone's journey is unique. Therefore, this podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. It is not meant to replace legal, financial, or other professional advice. So, we encourage you to take what's useful, do your own due diligence, and build what works.
Thanks for listening to Begin, Build, Blossom, your business journey. We hope today's conversation gave you the insights and inspiration you need to move forward on your own path. Don't forget to subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. Do you have feedback? We'd love to hear from you at podcast@cmeaccountingllc.com. Join us again next week for a new episode.